Tonight, we will be recognizing the contributions of 4 Rotarians in their support of the humanitarian works of Rotary International. We will be remembering Rotarian Dennis Belleville, a member of our club for 24 years before his passing early this past April. And we will be honoring 3 outstanding individuals in our communities whose volunteer activities exemplify service above self: Dr. Adam Moyer, Gary Nickel, and Mel Fisher. We will listen and celebrate the musical achievements of our young musicians, Danielle Henderson and Erica Bowie, and congratulate them on their well-deserved music awards. And we will officially induct into Rotary 2 brand new members. So, to kick off things, representing the City of Dryden, I'm pleased to invite our Mayor, Greg Wilson, to the podium.
Thanks, Deanna. Well, I bring you greetings on behalf of the City of Dryden. Debbie and I were thrilled to be invited back to your annual dinner, where community members are honored, musicians are awarded, causes are supported, and attendees are rewarded with a great meal, entertainment, and fellowship. Exactly 1 year ago today, a house fire preempted our plans to attend your 2018 celebration, so we're really glad to be back. Ed asked me a few weeks ago to remind you how wonderful it is to live in a positive community, even after a house fire. We all know the external benefits of living here that help to create a positive mindset, such as proximity to the outdoors, short work commutes, reasonable house prices, etc. But a good corporate and marketing plan or a speech should also communicate those internal kind of feel-good benefits of small-town living that are hard to spell out on a marketing brochure. And that's my goal over the next 3 minutes. While reflecting on all the good comments that came out of our strategic planning efforts at the city recently, I happened to glance up at a 4-year-old birthday card sitting on the shelf in my office from my son Reed, with this written on the front: "She sells seashells by the seashore because her dad never told her that was a terrible business model." And inside it said, "Thanks for not letting me do too much dumb stuff. Love, Reed." I thought, yes, that's why Dryden has been so positive in both the good times and the bad. Community improvement plans, such as the one being presented right this minute in council chambers, help create positive buzz, but there's something to be said for a community that doesn't just let others do dumb stuff, right? Yet everyone has their dumb days, which is when we Drydenites so often reveal another side of our character, the side of grace, patience, humility, and so on. Live here long enough and you'll discover that Drydenites keep an eye out for one another. We help protect and challenge one another. We comfort and encourage one another, with the occasional rebuke thrown in for good measure. Over the decades, we haven't lost our sense of togetherness, of community, despite daily or perhaps significant events that have the potential to tear a community's social fabric apart. As psychologists like to remind us, our circumstances are not determinative. We all have choices. It's become increasingly apparent to me from this mayor's perch that most locals share certain DNA, which heightens one's awareness of the reality that we all bear certain stewardship responsibilities, both for ourselves and for others, in both good times and bad. Daily, we can choose between isolation and interaction, tuning out and tuning in, opting out or pitching in. Walking through Cooper Park along the river last Saturday morning, Deb and I started talking about what makes Dryden a positive, welcoming community. And just then, a person walked by with headphones on, tuning out the world, deaf to our greeting. It was a sober reminder that it's so much easier today, with the advent of cell phones, etc., to miss opportunities to live in the present and engage others in real time. I think that the benefit of living in a small town is that it brings you back to the reality that shares space with others more naturally. Shopping, working, and playing in our relatively small geographic footprint called Dryden makes it easy to bump into friends, enemies, and frenemies alike. Towns turn into communities when we embrace opportunities to share reality instead of always trying to create alternate universes in the same space. So I'd like to leave you with this one last kind of feel-good reality fact about life here that Drydenites have embraced, and I would say embedded into our social DNA over the generations, and also a final suggestion. We truly believe that every problem is an opportunity for doing good for someone else in the community, especially through our service organizations. However, this is a question here. The supposed negative or the elephant in the room about Dryden over the years, heard from the occasional newcomer, has been what? That we're too, what was that, Carl? Not welcoming. Yeah, that we're too cliquish. So if that's true, I have a remedy for that. When in Rome, join a clique. Or better yet, start one and invite others to join in. And it's a great way to make new friends. And when you think about it, heck, that's how Rotary got started, right? So carpe diem, Dryden. On with the show.
Thank you, Greg. Our next guest hails from Kenora and is also the district governor of the 48 Rotary clubs stretching from Saskatoon to Sioux Lookout. Please welcome District Governor Fred Wright.
Thank you. It's certainly my pleasure to be with you tonight, and it's my honor to serve all of the clubs in our district. Last night I was about this time in a meeting in Nipawin, Saskatchewan, and you probably don't know where that is, but it's about a 12-hour drive from here. District governors don't have a jet. I love coming to Dryden. When I was assistant governor, I got to visit here often, and your club eventually welcomed me like one of your members, and I always appreciated that and still appreciate that. This is a Paul Harris evening, and some of you in the room.
Sorry, I can't hear you. I just take directions from John.
Everybody can hear me. My wife is probably complaining she's hearing me now. I didn't get the purple memo, so I had to buy one of those for my wife, but I'm wearing it. Paul Harris is the man who started the Rotary Club in Chicago, and a Paul Harris Award. It's not so much an award as in order to get a Paul Harris designation, you need to give $1,000 US to the Rotary Foundation. Our Rotary Foundation is amazing. Over 97% of the dollars that go into the Rotary Foundation go back and hit the ground. Rotary is listed on the Charity Navigator as the #1 charity in the world because our administration costs are about nothing. And it's because of volunteers like us. And the cool thing about our charity is that when you put $1,000, excuse me, $1,000 US into the Rotary Foundation, they keep it for 3 years, and then all of that money comes back to our district in the form of grants. And those grants allow us to do really great projects. They supplement what we can put in as clubs. And so when you give money to the Rotary Foundation, you're giving money to your community. And the people that are going to be honored tonight are living that, and I think everybody in this room is living that. And I appreciate what you're doing, and go Rotary. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I'm much shorter, I'll have to lower it. I just want to share a little bit about polio, because we are going to be talking about supporting polio and a good cause. So the story behind it was, Ramesh Ferris was born in India to an impoverished single mother in 1979. When he developed polio as an infant, his mother surrendered him to an orphanage, knowing that he would have no chance for a good life if she kept him. He had the good luck to be adopted by a Canadian couple, and with proper rehab, braces and crutches, he learned to walk short distances at a slow pace. In 2008, he started an epic hand cycle trip across Canada from Victoria, BC to Cape Spear, Newfoundland to raise awareness and funds for the elimination of polio. He gave frequent talks at schools and to Rotary clubs along the way and was supported by many Rotary clubs, including the Rotary Club of Dryden. Here, he spoke to Rotarian Roland Swan. Their conversation is recorded in a book written about his trip entitled Better Than a Cure by Ramesh Ferris and John Firth. To quote from the book, what terrified Rolly most in life after he moved to Canada in 1950 was seeing what polio did to people around him. He couldn't sleep at night knowing that, without warning, he might never walk again, or die from asphyxiation, or worst of all, spend the rest of his life in a monstrous iron lung that became the international symbol of the disease. Polio was formerly called infant paralysis and has been a sporadic illness since ancient Egypt, but with the dawn of the 20th century and the increasing mobility of people, it spread around the world in epidemic waves. By the time the first effective vaccine was available in the 1950s, polio was killing or maiming more than 40,000 people a year in Canada and the US, and it affected every country in the world, maiming and killing untold millions. Last year, there was a handful of cases and only in 2 countries. The problem is that with modern air travel, polio is one flight away from being around the globe, and anybody who's not immunized is vulnerable. The cost of the vaccine to prevent polio is $3. Last year, about 400,000 children were vaccinated, but the annual cost of monitoring the disease around the world is about $100 million. Polio Plus remains one of the highest priorities of Rotary. We are joined in the fight against polio by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the World Health Organization, UNICEF, many national governments, including Canada, and by the Atlanta Center for Disease Control. The goal is to eliminate polio from the face of the earth. Until every nation in the world is disease-free for 3 years, the battle is not won, and we are not safe from future epidemics. October 24th is the International Rotary End Polio Day. This year, Anna Trainey, who was sitting there where Marty is, and her friends made these bracelets, and they will give them to anyone who makes a donation to end polio. So I encourage you, if you haven't made a donation yet, please do make a donation this evening. And that ends this part of our evening. So I want to thank you for listening, and we're going to take just a 10-minute break. We want you to get up, stand, freshen up your drink, and we're going to reassemble over here in the seats for the remainder of the evening. Thank you, everyone.
Good evening, fellow Rotarians and guests. If you didn't hear Rena's introduction of our table, I'm Peter Marshall. I'm a proud member of the Rotary Club of Dryden. And now we're going to move into the part of the evening now where we get the awards and we get our music performance appreciation nights and the good part of the evening. As Fred was explaining earlier, the Paul Harris Awards are a very important part of Rotary International, and for everybody that receives one of these awards, it's $1,000 US dollars that goes to the Rotary Foundation. And tonight you'll see there's a few parts to that. There's our members that contribute $1,000 towards the Rotary Foundation, and that makes them eligible for the Paul Harris Award. There's also the members in our community that do great things that we think should be recognized, and our club then recognizes that and donates $1,000 US dollars to the Rotary Foundation. And then we also have special awards where we have a pool of Paul Harris points that we can donate, and we usually select someone that is very deserving of that. So we'll go through them tonight. And I like to call it a stage. Yeah, I don't know where Carol is. Carol Haran. Marty Plomp, Rena Madden, Elaine Thompson, and Nicole Belleville. So, your personal contribution of $1,000 to the Rotary Foundation, that's allaying suffering, improving living conditions, and providing educational opportunities for young people all over the world. Your gifts are truly selfless actions and demonstrate your commitment to our common goals of world understanding and peace. Carol Haran has been a Rotary member for 2.5 years and is currently our club's Director of Community Services. On behalf of the President of Rotary International and the Chairman of the Trustees of the Rotary Foundation, it gives me great pleasure to present you with a Paul Harris Fellow Certificate and a lapel pin. Carol. It's up to her.
Thank you very much.
And as Carol has just done, becoming a Paul Harris Fellow is a milestone, but it's not a final destination. We encourage those who become Paul Harris Fellows to continue supporting the Rotary Foundation. With each additional $1,000 gift to the Rotary Foundation, donors are presented with a Paul Harris Fellow pin containing a sapphire. This year, we have 3 Rotarians achieving these milestones. They are our current president of the Rotary Club of Dryden, Marty Plomp. This is her 3rd Paul Harris pin. And as I bumbled through at the table introductions, past president and chair of the Dryden Rotary Charity Foundation, Rena Madden, who is also receiving her 3rd Paul Harris Award. You don't get to stick anybody, huh?
No volunteers.
And last but not least, Elaine Thompson. She has been a Rotarian for 30 years. She's been a past president, and this is her 4th Paul Harris pin. And at this time, I would like to call on Marty Plomp to come up, and we have a special presentation, special Paul Harris Award for past Rotarian Dennis Belleville.
Nicole, this is to Nicole Belleville. Your father, Dennis Belleville, was sponsored by the late Bill Beattie. Dennis joined the Rotary Club of Dryden in 1995 and remained an active member until his passing on April 4th, 2019. We remember your father, such a kind man, a likable man, and our meetings rarely a target of the Sergeant-at-Arms. His compassion and way with people made him a natural fit for his fellowship position in Rotary and in our club, and keeping contact with fellow Rotarians struck by illness. He will be missed, and he will be remembered through this memorial, the Paul Harris Award, in his name. It represents, through Rotary, his gift to the people of this world, Nicole, from the members of the Rotary Club of Dryden. Thank you for being a daughter of this outstanding man.
The Royal Conservatory of Music offers an internationally renowned program of music study and assessment through its certificate programs. Today, the RCM certificate program is considered one of the finest music education systems in Canada and around the world. The program provides students with world-class, well-rounded musical training from elementary through to advanced levels. With the completion of each level, students further hone their skills and develop their ability to play music. The program incorporates repertoire, studies, sight reading and ear training, technique and theory for multiple disciplines and numerous instruments. Our student performance is recognized at every level through examinations at the regional and with national awards. Certificates are awarded at every level to all candidates who have successfully completed the requirements for practical and theory examinations. The examinations are professional, objective, and consistent, delivered by accredited examiners for students of all level of study. And in Dryden, the exams are available usually in June each year. The program does focus on classical music, but there are also opportunities to play jazz, folk, and popular music. The Associate of the Royal Conservatory of Music, or ARCT, diplomas for performers and teachers are the highest academic standings awarded by the Royal Conservatory. The ARCT Teacher's Diploma is respected internationally as a teaching qualification. The ARCT Performer's Diploma confirms the achievement of professional concert musicians. I'm pleased to present the trophies for this year, and we are beginning kind of a bit of a change this year. We have an additional award level to our music award program. The current levels are being kind of reworked and include the following: a junior trophy for the highest mark achieved in exams by Dryden and area students. The trophy includes those who've completed levels 1 through 3. The intermediate level trophy includes completion of levels 4 through 6, and the junior trophy is the highest grade earned by a student in grades 7 and 8. What we want to acknowledge is the new advanced trophy that would be awarded to a student who achieves the highest exam mark in levels 9, 10, or ARCT. The new level award is difficult to achieve in Dryden, as the work requirements are several hours of practice daily, involving the study and performance of major works of music by classical masters. Most local students reaching this level will have graduated from Dryden High School and gone on to study in a university music degree program, so would not take their exams in Dryden, but rather play their examinations in the city of the university where they study. In spite of the fact that we may not often have the pleasure of having a local student earn this trophy, we wanted to acknowledge the advanced levels of music study that are possible for those who are musically gifted and who are willing to dedicate the time necessary to achieve the technical mastery at the level. The tradition of excellence is passed on in Dryden. Heather Spuzak has a student here this evening, however, his lucky girl is in Hawaii, apparently. But we are really pleased to have our new music teacher to Dryden, Rebecca Reed, with us. So I would ask Rebecca just to please stand and be recognized for your efforts, and welcome to Dryden. Thank you. This year, the junior trophy is being awarded to Danielle Henderson, who is not new to this awards evening, as she's been here before and actually won the Rena Fotheringham Award last year. Danielle received the highest Royal Conservatory mark of all local students who completed the levels 1 through 3 this year. Danielle is 13 years old and has played the piano for about 8 years. She is currently in grade 9 at Dryden High School. Danielle has also started to learn to play the alto saxophone this year. She plays baseball, hockey, and enjoys cross-country running, also enjoying reading books and watching movies, especially the Marvel movies, and watching musicals. This evening, Danielle is here to play for us and present 2 musical selections. The first is called Quiet Lagoon, composed by John George, and the second, entitled The Awakening, by Andrea Dow. Danielle. Thank you very much. That was lovely. It's really great to sort of hear progress from the students, and I enjoy that very much. So it is my pleasure to award to you, with our appreciation for your hard work, the Junior Trophy. Thank you so much.
All right. Now, we're going to move on to the Paul Harris Fellowship Awards. And what does that mean? That means, it has 2 purposes. First, as a means of raising funds for the Rotary Foundation, and as a means of giving recognition and showing appreciation for outstanding individuals in our community. Our Rotary Club of Dryden makes a contribution of $1,000 to the Rotary Foundation in the name of the individual to be honored. In 2019, our club is pleased to honor Gary Nickel, Dr. Adam Moyer, and Mel Fisher. We'd like to please come up to the stage.
Gary had a vision for Dryden Youth Soccer as early as 2010. With 2 young daughters among the 450 registered soccer players and 84 coaches, Gary thought it was high time we made Rotary Park people-friendly by building a facility with change rooms, washrooms, and a snack bar. He began by looking into grants to test the waters and determine if his vision was even feasible. He applied for and received a Hydro One grant that set the wheels in motion. This helped to provide the seed money necessary to have plans drawn up with a cost estimate for completion. He approached the Rotary Club in 2012 to share his vision and ask for support. Bit by bit, things came together. In addition to a $100,000 commitment from Rotary, Gary secured a provincial grant of $124,000, a Canada 150 grant for $150,000, and a Trillium grant for $90,000 that pushed the dream to the cusp of reality. But it was a financial and in-kind support from local professionals, businessmen, individuals, as well as the City of Dryden that finally clinched this for Gary. The soccer complex officially opened in the summer of 2019. It has change rooms, washrooms, ample storage, a concession area, and a kitchen. It also has a covered pavilion that allows people to get relief from the sun and provide shelter from inclement weather. Although his children were no longer in youth soccer, Gary pursued his vision until it was fully completed. The hours he dedicated in bringing the project to fruition are countless. Finally, we have a soccer complex that we all can enjoy, and one that Rotary is proud to have its name on. I really can't express enough the dedication that Gary has put forth to this project. Gary, soccer will never be the same in Dryden. You are truly a champion of youth sports, and Rotary would like to recognize you for your achievements through a Community Paul Harris Award.
Who's next up? I'll call on Carl Eisner to introduce Dr. Adam Moyer.
Dr. Moyer was born in Thunder Bay, Ontario. As a child and a young man, he suffered from chronic health problems and was a frequent guest at the Thunder Bay Regional Health Sciences Centre. Perhaps for this reason, he chose medicine as a career. Unfortunately, during his medical studies were interrupted by a worsening of his health problems, requiring a liver transplant to save his life. Fortunately, his brother donated part of his liver to him, and Adam went on to graduate from the Northern Ontario School of Medicine in 2008. He moved to Dryden in 2011 and has worked here as a doctor at the clinic and the hospital since then. Outside of his work, he's become very involved with the community. He's been a coach for the youth soccer since moving here, and until last year was also a coach for minor hockey. He's involved with the Dryden Ice Dogs and organizes and donates a bursary to Ice Dog members moving on to university. He volunteers with the Dryden Native Friendship Center, sponsoring and attending gym and hockey nights, including donating hockey equipment and skates to youth who otherwise would not be able to participate. He's a strong advocate for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of Canada, as well as for organ donation and organ donor awareness. Within the medical community, he's the coordinator of the local education group, providing continuing medical education and updates to doctors in the area, and is very involved in teaching medical students and residents. In 2018, he was awarded the Clinical Teaching Award by the Northern Ontario School of Medicine. He is a Patient's Choice Award recipient from the Northwest Local Health Integration Network, also known as the LIN, and from the Ontario Medical Association. He and his wife, Nancy, have 4 young and, as you have seen, very active children. For his strong support of many and varied activities and the initiatives in our area and his involvement in those activities, the Rotary Club of Dryden is proud to recognize Dr. Moore with the Community Paul Harris Award. He truly exemplifies the Rotary motto of service above self.
And now we'll call on Shane McKinnon to introduce Mel Fisher.
Many years ago, Mel Fisher was running for a seat on council, and at an all-candidates night, he and other candidates were asked a question about working together with other municipalities. The 2 other candidates fumbled through their response, but Mel stated that he had a lot of experience working with other municipalities and had developed a regional partnership for recycling. But then he went on to say that it was like keeping frogs in a box. He opened the box and put 2 in, and 2 more would jump out. So Mel has been keeping frogs in boxes for a long time. Rotarians and guests, I have the singular pleasure of introducing Rotary's Community Paul Harris recipient, Mel Fisher. Mel has been a friend and a mentor to myself. He has country wit and wisdom, but above all, he has perseverance. And that perseverance is exampled in the spring of 2004, Mel saw an ad for a new cooperative apartment building for seniors in Kenora. A senior-friendly building that had a secure garage, elevators, wide corridors, large bathrooms, and grab rails everywhere. He asked the local seniors club, the Go-Getters, if they would consider leading a project to get such a building in Dryden. A committee was formed that October, 15 years ago, with Mel Fisher as chair. In the summer of 2005, the committee convened a public meeting attended by over 150 seniors who expressed a need for such housing. On this basis, a Winnipeg developer put together a project to build a 37-unit apartment building on the property at Van Horn Avenue and Wabigoon Drive, which would be purchased from the city. Each tenant would be a shareholder. Plans were made and about 16 people committed to being shareholder tenants. Over time, the shareholder tenants got cold feet with the 2008 financial crash, and the project was abandoned in 2010. In February 2014, Mel made a pitch to the Dryden Rotary Club to take on the seniors housing project. Although the club declined to take a financial position, it agreed to form a committee and to undertake a study with a view to advancing the project. The study demonstrated conclusively that our community is woefully short of senior housing. The Rotary Committee, led by Sandra Boyko and including Janet Schaefer, John Borst, and Mel Fisher, convened a meeting with the community leaders to map a future course. In June of 2014, the Northern Lights Credit Union offered to lead the project and to hold the mortgage. A new corporation was formed called the Dryden Seniors Cooperative Housing Corporation. The board of directors was chaired by Maxine Moulton, with Mel serving as vice chair. Then came storm clouds. This time, Northern Lights Credit Union went through a process of reorganization which culminated in the formal withdrawal from the project in April of 2016. Mel then prepared a detailed business plan which was accepted by Thomas developers as suitable to seek mortgage funding, but neither party could find anyone who would take on the mortgage. Again, the project foundered and the corporation was dissolved in 2017. During this time, an experienced developer called Bridge Road Construction Limited was found, but required both investors and tenants. 15 local investors plus Bridge Road Developments. Yes, it was a sad story. Came together to form a new business corporation, and the project was renamed Timberland Estates. This new corporation entered into a contract with Bridge Road Construction, under which they would build a 24-unit building for a fixed price, with construction to be finished at about the end of this year. Anyone who has had the chance to drive by the project location will be impressed with the size and beauty of the building, which appears ready for occupancy. Mel Fisher, your 15-plus years of grit, determination, and keeping all the frogs in the box, we are pleased to present to you 4th Paul Harris Award, the Community Paul Harris Award.
The Dryden Rotary Club Intermediate Music Trophy is being presented this evening to Erica Bowie. Erica is in grade 11 at Dryden High School. She has completed level 4 in the Royal Conservatory of Music and has been playing piano for about 8 years. She takes part in the DHS Dramatic Arts Association as well as the DHS Music Association. I believe she's currently preparing for the role of Santa in the upcoming school musical presentation of the play Elf. Erica also plays the trombone and ukulele. She sings, and I know that she is missed in the local Shades of Hope choir, as she formerly was one of the original members of the choir. In addition to music, Erica aspires to go on to study art and music, eventually becoming an art and music psychotherapist. This evening, Erica has chosen to play First Reflections, composed by Dennis Alexander, and secondly, Somersault King by Mike Schoenmail. Erica? This year's winner of the senior trophy is Fiona Cook, who has also been here several times in the past. Fiona is away on a school sports tournament, so isn't able to join us tonight, but I do have some words to share on her behalf. From Fiona's parents, an excerpt of their comments that they would like forwarded to Rotary. Unfortunately, we will not be able to attend this year as Fiona will be out of town that day. She has decided to discontinue piano this year since entering high school and is learning a new instrument, alto saxophone, at DHS. She has joined the Music Association, and their band has hopes of traveling to Winnipeg or Quebec this year to participate in a festival. Both Ethan, who's been here as well, and Fiona have chosen a piano piece to work on at home on their own, and needless to say, there will always be some form of music in our household. And from Fiona, we received a lovely letter that I'd like to share with you. Dear Rotary members, I'm sorry for not being able to attend the awards night to receive my piano award. I am very thankful for all that you have done for me over the years, such as the speech contest, piano, and just everything that you do for Dryden. This program is a very unique group, and I'm hoping that I will be able to be involved in something Rotary related in the future. Again, thank you for the award. I really wish that I could attend. Have a good evening. Fiona Cook. And we will definitely be sure that she gets her award. There is one more presentation, or one more award presentation. I want to talk briefly about the history of the Music Awards in Dryden. There have been conversations over the last several years to determine what year this Rotary Club instituted its Music Awards program. We haven't quite nailed it down yet, but we do know that while the club was still in its infancy, piano teacher, the late Rena Fotheringham, spoke with her brother-in-law, late Rotarian Gordon Hatch, about the need to highlight the accomplishments of young musicians in our community. We believe that Rotarian Gordon took the idea, to the club for consideration, and the local awards were born. So since we know that the club is now 79 years old, we believe that the Rotary Music Awards have been part of this club's history now for about 75 years. Yes, I think that that's definitely a wonderful thing. It has also now become the public legacy and gift left to young musicians in this community by Rena Fotheringham. Following Rena's passing, Rotary decided to honor her dedication to music by creating the Rena Fotheringham Memorial Music Award. The student who has received the highest grade in Royal Conservatory of Music examinations that year is awarded the trophy. This year, the student in Dryden who achieved the highest mark locally on Royal Conservatory of Music examinations attained a mark of 91%, considered first-class honors with distinction. Rotary is pleased to present this award to Daniel Henderson. Please come forward, Danielle. It's heavy, so I'll make it quite right.
So before we say goodnight, we have a tradition in Rotary. We close our gatherings with the four-way test, which happens to be on the inside cover of your program, bottom left, and which many of you may have seen in the Gordon Wood Auditorium at the high school, to inspire our youth to be a positive influence in our community and beyond. So if you'd all please rise and join me in reciting the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Good night, everyone.